So, but for us, it's different because this is DJ music, of course.
Exactly.
It's, but
But you
it,
still want it on to Spotify sometimes and stuff like this,
exactly,
right?
exactly. So, um, in my opinion, what you need to do is have a small groove, have a short groove, but still sounding good. Because just a kick and a hi hat would be too little. But
Of course.
you see,
Ah, you mean at the beginning?
the really beginning, and then start inserting the sounds one by one slowly, because
You already have the lead here as well, right?
exactly it's very low, but
You can
the
hear
lead
it
is
all
already
clearly.
there.
How do you mix in the elements volume-wise? You do it as you go along, or do you have a time where you say, okay, let me mix? And if you do, how do you do it?
Normally, what I would do is that the kick is the main reference of the volume. So I would get like a track. So for example, I'm gonna get a random track here. I don't know if you can hear it. Can you hear it?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and I would want to match the kind of volume of the kick.
Okay.
So they're sounding very like similar in volume already.
Yes.
So what I would do is that would be my reference point. Then everything will follow with the kick. So, but and in this particular moment, I wouldn't like really go all in on that. I would try to kind of leave it for when the track is layered already.
Mela, mela, of course. Okay.
So, but still, if it's done properly in the beginning, it's less of a headache in the end.
Exactly.
Because sometimes if you're like, okay, let me do it, but then the volumes are too low to bring them up, it's impossible.
So you don't put the kick to start with. You start with the kick, all right, like me, exactly. But you don't put the kick at a decibel volume to leave headroom. You just you just hear it referring to another track and make sure
Exactly.
it's the same volume. That's where you start, and then
Exactly.
everything else by ear or also with the track you reference.
Normally by ear.
Yeah,
I got used to it, but then
exactly.
in the real end of it, I kind of finalize the mixing, and then I tend to actually, first of all, I would finish the track, then leave it a couple of days, then listen to other tracks in the meantime, go back at the track, and kind of, like find the right sounds. Maybe the hi-hat is too high, the clap is too low, and then trying to find the right balance until you fine tune it till the best. But that's kind of the normal way.
And then on the master, you put compression and you put the plugins on the
Exactly.
master.
Thing is that I tend to, um, for example, with the wave parts here, the percussions are already sounding quite good because they are treated already. So on these particular parts, I didn't do anything. But for example, on the lead, since it's MIDI, I compressed it a bit more and I put like a vintage compressor, I think. No, it's the actually the platinum digital one. So it's a normal compressor, but you can use I think for the bass then. For the bass I compressed a bit more. Yes, it's the vintage one because I liked the vintage kind of sound in that.
You compress them separately. But
Exactly.
then as a whole, you compress the track?
No, because then it would be too compressed. So what I would do is to do them singularly and control everything singularly, and then have maybe kind of like a delimiter on to actually get the right volume in the end. But I would treat everything individually. That is my style.
Okay. So on the master chain, you won't have any plugins at all?
No, normally I would
Yes,
go
yeah.
just go on the limiter.
Just a limiter you have
Exactly,
so.
exactly, just the limiter, just to maybe beef it up a bit more or decrease it a bit, like,
See.
because I can control it. Because normally, even if you go in a club environment, you would have the speakers, the mixer, the CDJs, and everything, and they would be connected to a limiter. So everything, will be at the right volume. And this is the kind.
And the limiter, you let it clip a bit?
I tend to kind of, for example, here.
Clip, you let it kick in,
For example, here, the volumes were a bit too low, and I put it plus 13 dB. You see?
Exactly. And then it tells you if it's chopping anything off for you.
For example,
probably there, reduction there.
Exactly. See? I think the limiters are very important. You can use them also individually in some parts. If for example, you feel that, for example, a lead is too strong, you would need a limiter to kind of help.
They cut out transients. They
Exactly.
cut out very fast sound. They chop it down to keep it in line with the rest. And also if you want to bring up the volume of the low sounds,
Exactly.
push it into a limiter because you'll be cutting off the rest.
Exactly. There's also the multipressor here. I don't know if you have it on Ableton. It's the multipressor is also very, very similar to what you're describing. You can actually also control like the bass parts and everything. This would be a global limiter.
We have one, multiband dynamics, it's called.
Exactly.
I use it.
Exactly.
You have the low, mid, and high.
Exactly.
And you choose the cutoff range. So between the low and mid, you choose what frequency you wanted to cut, and you can solo each one to hear them on their own. And then you can compress each one individually.
Exactly.
Or you can push each one. I
and
use it a lot.
And that is a combination. It's a combo of a compressor and kind of a limiter as well. So,
and everything on the headphones, you do everything, all the mixing.
At the moment, since the room is not treated, I got used to the headphones, because
there is hope. So for people without speakers.
Yes, no, it's for monitors. I have the Rocket here, but thing is that the room is very basic. So it will be very hard to do it. But since I told you also last time, I DJ with the headphones. Exactly. So I know exactly what kind of sound I would need to play in any environment. So I know the end result. So then what I would do is I would finish the track and finish them with the headphones. Then I would play it, for example, on my phone, on my mobile. Then I would play it in the car for extra references. So I would have like 3 to 4 references because maybe
the car is one of the worst to me. Like it's to make it sound good in the car is really difficult.
But that's that is the ultimate. You know what I mean? Because if you make it good there, then it's good for the club because the club is the same. It's sometimes the kick will be flat, or sometimes the kick will be a bit too much. So
and even clubs mono as well. Many of them will be mono. The clubs,
yes, as well. So you know what I mean? It's very tricky, yes, but it's getting used to the sounds.
Experience.